Okay, so yesterday I shared with you, very randomly, it was because it was the 1st of May, I had to rip off the page on our massive calendar that we have in the kitchen. And you may have seen in stories that I said, right, I'm going to leave it out and just see if it's of interest to Mason, because it's fab, because of the big size of it, but also it's got nice, lovely, bold numbers. It's got the letters for the days of the week across the top. I just thought it was too good to bin. So I thought what I'd do is I'd leave it out, and I added some counters. These are just little vehicle counting counters, a tub of pens, and some stickers. So pretty open-ended, not completely, but pretty open-ended. So that means that I've just put a few resources with it that might inspire Mason, but I just wanted to see what he would do. So I had no agenda. I didn't know what he was going to do, and I just wanted him to play and explore. And he's at the age where he's really into doing that. He's got lots of independence, so wanted to explore it. Anyway, so when he got in from preschool, he saw it but wasn't bothered, and we went out and did lots of outdoor play. We did lots of slime and things like that. That was the mood he was in. Fine. If I'd have tried to get him to sit down and do it, it just wouldn't have been worthwhile. However, just before we went to bed, we were having a bit of time in the lounge, and he said, should we do the numbers? And I was like, brilliant, yes, we'll grab it over. So we dragged it into the lounge. So like I said, I just had it laid out and then didn't say anything. It was just, and he said, what shall I do? And I said, you could do whatever you want to, Mason. And I said, it's absolutely fine. So he had that reassurance that he was safe to destroy it, do whatever he wanted with it, which is always quite nice for young children, that sort of reassurance that they're okay. Right then, so then he got playing, and then this is where, so my role in this is to sit back and be quiet. My husband was there as well, and I must admit, at times I was like, because it's so easy for us adults to feel like we need to bombard our children with questions, when actually, sometimes our children, they're just having a go, they're just playing, they're just exploring, they're just going to see what happens, and they can't always explain. So it can't. So by saying what you're doing or encouraging, asking them to explain their thought process or what they're doing, quite often it becomes very tricky. They either don't have the language to explain what they're doing, or they can't actually put into words what they're doing. They're just having a good go, they're just having a play. And also sometimes children feel like they need to give us the answer that we want to hear. So they may give us an answer which is not quite right. It's just what they're trying to please us, what they think we want to hear. So it's really tempting at this point, particularly when it's completely open-ended, not to interfere, to sit back, to support them, but not to question and not to lead the play either, so not to take over. So Mace, when he was playing, he came over to it. Now, first of all, he started off, so we've got the numbers across the top. He got out the counters, and I did think he'd sit and play with those because they are vehicles, which is his thing. However, he soon pushed those aside when he noticed that the numbers 1, 2, 3 go across the top. And he got the stickers, and he did 1 spot on 1, 2 spots on 2, 3 spots on 3, and I thought he was going to continue. But then he stopped there, and he grabbed a chunky orange pen from the tub of pens, and at the minute he's been talking lots about a cross, a no, and X marks the spot, and all this, and really exploring what X and cross means. It's just been his thing, and he started to draw it a lot more. I've noticed it on all his drawings, he's doing this X and everything. And he had the pen, and he was going around, and he was putting crosses on all the numbers that he didn't like. I don't know why he doesn't like them. He didn't explain. Just like, no, that's naughty. No, I don't like that number. And he was crossing them. And he's doing a few, but he also left some blank. And then he started, as he was doing that, he was going through. It didn't look methodical. He seemed to just be the numbers that he spotted. But then when he stood back, and at this point, he's moving at lots of different angles. He's laid on the paper, he was stood up, he was sat down. Then as he stood back, he noticed that there were lots of the same number. So he noticed that there was 9, 19, and then 29, because it's the numbers up to 30 for the numbers, the days in April. And he noticed, so then he began to draw lines between the digits number 9, and then he noticed that there were lots of zeros as well. And he started connecting the numbers. And this is just really interesting, because number and counting for young children is all about pattern. There's loads and loads of patterns in number and counting, and it's really important and it's really beneficial for children to explore that and to begin to notice patterns for themselves, rather than picking out and showing it. He discovered it for himself, that there was the 9, then the 1 and the 9, and then the 2 and the 9. And we could have carried on, couldn't we? We could have done the 3 and the 9, and we could point that out. But it's just the way that he was exploring with the numbers, and then he got the stickers, and he was doing the red stickers, because that, in his mind, that means no and means stop on the traffic lights. He was then putting stickers on different ones. Some had the red ones, some had the green ones, the numbers that he liked. He picked out the numbers 16, 17 and 24 that he liked. He didn't explain why, and I didn't question why, but he said that he liked those numbers. Oh, and 12 as well. But it's really interesting. And then he was doing lots and lots of the numbers. He traced the letters as well, because he noticed the M was for Monday. He's also like the M for Mason. And he did some of the letters and some of the different ones. And he also pointed out the F for his friend's name at preschool. And it was just that sort of, he was noticing, he was finding things, he was discovering, he was exploring, he was having a go, he was seeing what happens when he does this. And he just loved it. And then actually what happened was he wanted more paper, and he turned it over and did some more crosses on the back. I'll show you. So still really into his crosses, he was doing lots more crosses, and then at the bottom he made a road sign, because he said that road signs have numbers on. And he wrote the number 10, because you can only go 10 miles an hour. And he drew the road sign, and then he got his cars involved, and then he was using this more of a map and speeding and all that sort of stuff, and something that he's really interested in. Now that wouldn't have happened if I'd have asked him to sit down with a pen and trace all the numbers on the page. And it wouldn't have happened if I'd have asked him to organise and sort the things. It was just his way of learning. So this is just a really good example of open-ended play, of letting children explore their thinking without the adult taking over, asking too many questions, or us having an agenda. Let them do it, let them play, and let them see what they come up with. And that can be the same for lots of things. So perhaps I get lots of questions, and people maybe got a really unusual box or some packaging and saying, what shall I set up for this? Well, actually, sometimes it's really interesting to give it to the child and see what they come up with, because quite often they will come up with much more wonderful ideas that are more meaningful to them than what we might come up as adults thinking it's something that they're interested in. So if and when you can, I know it's not easy, and this is stuff, I've trained in this and been doing it for a long time. It's not easy, but if you can let children go with the flow, go with something that they're interested in, and sit back and watch and support them, the learning can be amazing. It really can, and it's so interesting to watch. And I can't wait to the end of May. I might pull off the next calendar page and just see what he chooses to do with that one too. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you, a bit of open-ended learning that just happened to happen yesterday. Sadly, I didn't get it on camera. I got some photos, but as with everything, I just didn't want to spoil the moment. Being there, watching it, observing it, oh, my heart was out of my chest. Being a mum and a bit of a play fanatic, it was just right up my street. So I wanted to share that with you. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you've ever tried any open-ended play, or you wanted to learn and do a little bit more. I'm more than happy to help. Happy playing, everybody. Thanks. Bye.